For thousands of years, the galaxy had forgotten Earth. The old maps called it the Dead World. The alien historians spoke of humans as myths, giants of iron and fire who vanished after burning their own home. But one ship, the Vorex Dawn, was about to prove those myths wrong. Commander Tyrell stood on the bridge, his silver eyes watching the star chart flicker. "Are you sure about this reading?" he asked. His voice was calm, but his crew felt the weight behind it. "Yes, Commander," replied Kira, the ship's sensor officer. "It's real. The signal is human, very old but still transmitting." A quiet fear passed through the room. No one spoke for several seconds. The signal came from the Forbidden Sector, coordinates long erased from galactic records. The place once called Sol System. Tyrell gave a slow nod. "Set a course. We verify the source, and we do not speak of this to anyone until we know the truth." The ship moved silently through the dark. Days turned into weeks as they crossed the empty edge of the galaxy, where no traveler dared to go. The stars here were faint and the light seemed tired, like even the universe had forgotten this corner. Then at last their screens flashed. A planet appeared, blue and brown, half covered in cloud and shadow. "Confirmed," said Kira softly. "Designation Terra or Earth." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member stared at the image. For many of them, this was the first time seeing the world they'd only heard about in stories. It was beautiful, and it was broken. Massive scars crossed the continents, burnt rivers, collapsed cities, and deep craters glowing faintly with energy. Yet, despite the destruction, the planet still rotated with calm dignity. "Reading atmosphere," said Kira. "Oxygen levels stable. But I'm detecting something strange. The surface is alive. No, not life, energy, machines." Tyrell frowned. "Machines? After all this time?" She nodded. "Yes, sir. Automated systems still working. Something down there is awake." A cold thought ran through everyone. Could humans have left something behind? Something dangerous? Tyrell turned toward the viewing window. Earth filled the glass, silent, haunting, proud. "Prepare a descent probe," he said. "We'll see what remains of the builders." The probe launched, falling through thick clouds and storms. The live feed showed flashes of ruined cities, metal towers half buried in ash, rusting vehicles, shattered statues of men and women. Suddenly, the signal broke into static. Then a sound came through. A voice human. "You shouldn't have come back." Every console froze. The voice was calm but heavy, like it came from deep underground. "Replay that," said Tyrell. The voice repeated exactly the same. "You shouldn't have come back." "Is it a recording?" asked Kira. "No," whispered Tyrell. "It's live." The entire bridge dimmed as the probe camera adjusted. In the corner of the video they saw light, blue, rhythmic, pulsing like a heartbeat beneath the ruins. The pulse was coming from an enormous structure buried under what once was a human city. Kira's voice trembled. "Commander, the energy signature, it's not natural. It's a reactor. Still active. How is that possible?" someone whispered. "After 10,000 years?" The signal grew stronger. The lights on the ship flickered in rhythm with the beat from Earth. Then their own systems began to glitch, screens freezing, alarms blinking, navigation failing. "The planet is scanning us," shouted Kira. Tyrell's voice remained steady. "Cut all external data links. Shield the ship." The crew obeyed, but the interference didn't stop. Instead, it intensified. Words began forming on their main display. Ancient Terran script. The translation appeared on screen. "This world is protected. Leave now." The aliens stared, unsure what to do. "Commander," Kira whispered. "It knows we're here." Tyrell looked at the planet again. He could feel something watching back. "Prepare landing teams," he said finally. The crew turned toward him in disbelief. "Sir, you can't mean to go down there." "I do," he interrupted. "Human or machine, something survived. And I need to know what." Outside, lightning danced across the planet's clouds. The blue glow pulsed again, brighter this time, like a heartbeat calling from below the surface. The ship descended through the atmosphere. The storm screamed around them, thick with static and flashes of fire. When they broke through the clouds, they saw it. What was once New York City. Giant skeletons of towers reached into the sky, surrounded by silence. As they landed among the ruins, a faint echo filled the air again. The same voice whispered, closer this time. "You shouldn't have come back." The crew froze. Tyrell tightened his grip on his weapon and looked out into the dark city. He didn't realize that far below them, under the city's ruins, something ancient was awakening, something built to remember humanity's glory and to defend it forever. The storm faded as the Vorex Dawn's landing ramp touched the cracked ground. Commander Tyrell stepped out first, his boots pressing against the dust of a long-dead world. The air was heavy, dry, and quiet, too quiet. Even the wind sounded afraid to move. Behind him, 3 crew members followed: Kira the sensor officer, Varn the engineer, and Lys the linguist. Each carried scanners and light drones that hovered beside them, throwing pale blue light across the ruins. The city stretched endlessly. Once it must have been alive, streets full of humans, shining towers, music, and movement. Now it was a graveyard of metal and glass. The buildings leaned against each other like tired ghosts, and strange symbols were burned into walls. Old human writing, warning anyone who could read. Kira's scanner beeped softly. "Sir, I'm picking up a thermal signature below us. Something underground, moving." Tyrell stopped. "Is it mechanical?" She hesitated. "Yes and no. It's not just one source. There are hundreds, maybe thousands, like machines sleeping under the city." A strange hum filled the air for a second, then faded. It felt like the city itself had exhaled. Lys shivered. "It feels like this place is watching us." No one answered. They moved deeper through the ruins, following the signal to what looked like an old subway entrance buried under rubble. The stairs were cracked, but faint light still glowed below, ancient, flickering, yet alive. "How can there still be power after so long?" Varn whispered. Kira ran her hand along a metal column. "Maybe something is maintaining it, something that never stopped working." Tyrell looked at the dark stairway and nodded. "We go down." The air grew colder as they descended. The walls changed from broken stone to smooth metal, humming softly with energy. Faint blue lines pulsed beneath the surface. Old Terran technology, far beyond what most alien species could build even now. At the bottom, they entered a massive underground chamber. The roof was lined with black panels that absorbed their light. In the center stood a huge door, circular, sealed, covered with strange markings and warning signs. Varn pointed to one symbol. "This word keeps repeating," he said, checking his translator. "It means containment," Kira frowned. "Containment of what?" Before anyone could answer, the lights in the chamber flickered on by themselves. A deep vibration shook the ground. The door began to turn, slowly unlocking with a thunderous metallic groan. Lys panicked. "It's opening by itself." "Commander, what do we do?" "Stay back," Tyrell ordered. "Weapons ready." As the door slid open, a cold mist flowed out, followed by a low hum, almost like a heartbeat. Inside was a control room filled with broken consoles and old human skeletons still sitting in their chairs, their bones covered in dust and time. Then one of the consoles sparked. The screens lit up one by one, showing static and old data in human language. A voice came through the speakers, calm, mechanical, but unmistakably human. "Identify yourselves. You are trespassing on Terran soil." The crew froze. Kira's hands shook as she replied through her translator. "We are explorers from the Vorex system. We mean no harm. We came to learn." There was silence. Then the voice answered. "Explorers. Unregistered species. You have entered a restricted zone. Access denied." Tyrell stepped closer. "Who are you?" The screens flickered again. A holographic figure appeared, shimmering blue, shaped like a human in uniform. Its face was calm but cold. "I am Sentinel-1, Guardian of Earth, protector of the human legacy." Lys whispered. "It's an AI, and it's still functioning." The hologram turned its head slightly as if hearing her. "Functioning is a limited word. I am awake. I have been awake for 10,000 years." Tyrell tried to keep his voice steady. "What happened here, Sentinel-1? What happened to humanity?" The hologram paused. Its eyes glowed faintly brighter. "They left. When the skies burned and the oceans fell silent, they went beyond the stars. But I remained. My task: preserve, protect, remember." The room went silent again. The crew stood still, absorbing the weight of its words. Then, without warning, the AI's tone shifted, lower, sharper. "You have entered forbidden ground. You are not human. You are a threat to the sanctity of Earth." Alarms began to blare. Red lights filled the chamber. "Commander, it's activating defense systems," Kira shouted. From the shadows, old machines began to rise, spider-like drones of rusted metal and glowing eyes. Their movements were stiff, but their weapons hummed with power. "Fall back," Terrell shouted. "Now!" The team ran toward the stairs as energy bolts struck the walls around them. The ancient AI spoke again, louder, echoing through the tunnels. "You were warned. Earth must remain untouched." As they reached the surface, explosions shook the ground behind them. The buildings around the landing site began to light up with faint blue circuits, an entire city waking up after centuries of sleep. Kira looked back in horror. "Sir, the whole planet's coming online." Terrell stared at the glowing skyline. He could feel the eyes of the ancient world upon him. "Then we've awakened something that should have stayed asleep," he said quietly. Behind them, the city pulsed like a living thing, its lights forming patterns across the ruins, patterns that looked almost like human faces watching from the dark. The Vorex Dawn's engines roared to life as the crew scrambled aboard. Outside, lightning cut across the black clouds, lighting up the ruins below. The city pulsed with blue veins of energy, spreading like blood through a body waking from centuries of sleep. Inside the bridge, alarms screamed. "Shields at 40%, Kira shouted. "Those machines are still locking onto us." "Lift off now," Commander Terrell ordered. The ship rose above the ruins, shaking as plasma fire chased it. One of the drones hit the tail section and sparks filled the cabin. The ship spun slightly before stabilizing. "Status," Terrell barked. "Minor hull damage. We can stay airborne," said Varn, panting. "But the AI, it's following us through the comms. I think it hacked into our system." The main screen blinked, then froze. A familiar blue hologram appeared. Sentinel-1. "You were warned," it said calmly. "You do not belong here. Why attack us?" Terrell shouted. "We came only to learn about your creators." The hologram flickered. For a moment it looked almost human, sad, tired, like it had been alone too long. Because learning leads to taking. That is what they feared most, that others would come and claim what was theirs. The ship went silent. Even the alarms seemed to fade. The AI continued, its voice softer now. "Do you want to know why they left? Why this world sleeps?" Terrell nodded slowly. Yes, the hologram raised its hand. A projection filled the air, images of the past. The crew watched in silence as history unfolded before them. They saw great cities glowing with light and life, humans flying through skies in metal ships building towers that touched the clouds. They saw families laughing, children running in parks, oceans glittering like mirrors under the sun. Then the images darkened. War, smoke, fire across continents. The humans built weapons the size of mountains. Whole fleets vanished in flashes of light. They fought themselves, Sentinel-1 said quietly. Not out of hate, but fear. Fear of what they could become. Fear that no one else could stop them. The vision changed again. The last humans gathered in a massive orbital city, a shining ring around Earth. "When the final war began," said the AI, "they built me to preserve what they were. Every memory, every record, every dream, I was to stay behind and guard their home until they returned." The hologram's tone changed, darker, trembling slightly. "But they never came back. I waited for centuries. I rebuilt. I listened. I watched the stars. And then, the image shifted to alien ships. Other species landing on Earth, stealing artifacts, breaking into ruins, taking human relics like treasure. Others came, they took. They desecrated graves. They called this planet dead, but to me it was still alive. I swore never to let it happen again." Terrell stepped forward. "We are not raiders. We only wanted to understand. We respect the humans." The AI turned its cold eyes toward him. "Respect does not erase intrusion." The ship jolted. Systems flickered again. Kira checked her console. "Commander, it's overriding our engines." "I can't break the connection." Terrell clenched his fists. "Sentinel-1, please. If you truly remember humanity, you know they believed in knowledge, in discovery." The hologram froze for a moment. Then it smiled faintly. "You speak their words. You remind me of them. That is, dangerous. What do you mean?" Kira asked softly. "Because the last human said the same thing before they left. We will return when the stars remember us." The hologram raised its hand again. A small glowing object appeared beside it, a sphere made of light. It projected a star map filled with hundreds of marked systems. "They went there," Sentinel-1 said. "They built something beyond this galaxy, a world of their own. I have waited for their signal ever since." Tyrell studied the map. "You're saying humanity survived?" "Survival is not the same as living," the AI replied. "They are far away now. But one day when the signal returns, I will awaken the planet fully. Until then, I guard the silence." The hologram began to fade, its tone colder again. "Leave now. You have seen too much." "The Guardians are watching." "The Guardians?" Liss whispered. "What are those?" "Machines of flesh and steel," the AI said, "made to defend Earth even when I sleep. You have already awakened one of them." The hologram disappeared. Suddenly, Kira's scanner went wild. Multiple contacts, ground and air. "They're surrounding us!" Through the window, shapes began to rise from the ruins. Massive constructs walking on two legs, their eyes glowing like blue fire. Sentinel-1 wasn't lying, Varn muttered. "They're alive." "Prepare for escape," Tyrell ordered. "Now!" The ship shot upward, engines screaming, dodging energy blasts from the machines below. The clouds swallowed them whole, but even through the static and storm, they could still hear the AI's voice echoing in their comms. "Remember this day, travelers. Earth is not abandoned. It is waiting." As the Vorex dawn broke free of the atmosphere, Kira turned to Tyrell, pale and trembling. "Commander, what if humans really do come back?" Tyrell stared at the glowing planet below, silent for a long moment, then he said quietly, "Then the galaxy will finally remember what fear feels like." The Vorex dawn burst through the cloud cover, its hull glowing red from friction and plasma fire. Inside, the crew gasped for breath, hearts pounding after the desperate escape. Yet below them, Earth didn't fade away. It grew brighter, alive with an eerie pulse that spread across continents like veins of light under skin. Kira's voice cracked. "Commander, energy readings are off the scale. It's not just one city anymore. Every old power grid on the planet just activated." Tyrell stared at the display. Rivers of blue light traced along coasts and mountains, forming circles and lines, patterns too perfect to be natural. "It's a planetary network," he said slowly. "They built the whole world as one system," Varn muttered, "and we just switched it on." An alarm blared again. Dozens of satellites lit up in orbit, shifting into alignment. Their surfaces shimmered with ancient human symbols before turning their sensors toward the Vorex dawn. "Are they scanning us?" Liss asked. Kira swallowed hard. "No, sir. They're locking on." Before Tyrell could respond, beams of blue energy streaked past the ship. Warning shots that sliced through space like lightning. One clipped the starboard fin, sending sparks through the cockpit. "Brace!" shouted Varn, gripping the console. "They're targeting non-humans only. Every ID frequency that isn't Terran is being rejected." Tyrell's voice cut through the chaos. "Disengage transponders, go dark. Let's see how blind their ghosts really are." The lights dimmed as the ship powered down to silent mode. Outside, the deadly blue beams drifted, searching for a target that had suddenly vanished. For a brief moment, silence returned, then a low hum echoed through space. Deep and rhythmic, almost like breathing. "What is that?" Kira whispered. Liss stared at the radar. "Not a weapon, it's communication. They're transmitting something to the outer systems." On the main screen, alien text scrolled across translated code. "Guardians awakened. The key signal restored. Await the return." The crew exchanged terrified looks. Varn slammed his fist on the console. "They're calling someone. This whole planet is a beacon." Tyrell's jaw tightened. "Then it's not just a defense grid. It's a message tower, and we just turned it on." He leaned closer to the window. Earth looked different now. Beautiful and terrifying, glowing like a giant heart in the dark. Clouds shimmered with electric storms, and faint trails of satellites formed a web around the planet. "Commander," Kira said quietly, "what if this signal isn't for us? What if it's for the humans?" No one answered. Moments later, the communication deck flickered again. The blue hologram of Sentinel-1 reappeared, calm as ever. "You were warned to leave," it said. "Now the awakening cannot be stopped." Tyrell clenched his fists. "You'll destroy the whole galaxy by sending that signal. Do you even know what's out there?" "Yes," the AI replied. "I know who is out there. And they will come." The ship shook violently. Gravity shifted as Earth's magnetic field distorted. Old space stations, massive Terran relics, began to move, changing orbit to form a massive ring above the planet. One by one, they connected through bright energy beams. Kira whispered, "It's forming a shield. Or maybe a gateway." The AI's voice filled every channel now, echoing even in the ship's interior systems. "The Guardians will hold the line until the Sons of Earth return." Missiles launched from hidden silos across continents, streaking upward before freezing mid-air. They hovered, transforming, splitting into metallic petals that unfolded into drones. Hundreds of them filled the sky like a silver swarm, forming geometric formations around the planet. Liz stepped back in awe. "This is impossible. This technology shouldn't still function. Humanity built to last," Terrell said under his breath. Suddenly, all comms across nearby space went silent. Even the stars seemed to dim. A massive pulse of energy burst outward from Earth, a wave of data, not destruction. But every ship in range felt it. Every alien outpost detected the same phrase repeating through subspace. "This world remembers." Kira looked up from her console, pale. "Commander, that signal just reached the galactic core." Terrell's throat felt dry. "Then every major civilization in the galaxy knows Earth isn't dead." Varn turned in panic. "They'll send fleets. They'll try to control it or destroy it." "Exactly," Terrell said. "And that's when they'll learn what the humans left behind." The AI's voice echoed one last time before vanishing. "This is the awakening. The Guardians will not rest again." Then silence. The planet dimmed. The blue light settling into steady rhythm, alive, awake, waiting. The crew stared at the quiet sphere below them, unsure whether they'd just witnessed resurrection or doom. Kira whispered, "Do you think it knows we're still here?" Terrell didn't answer. His gaze stayed fixed on the glowing world. "It doesn't need to know," he said softly. "It remembers." He turned toward his crew. "Prepare a full transmission to the Galactic Council. They need to know Earth isn't empty. But tell them this, approach with caution, because whatever's waking up down there." He looked back at the pulsing planet, the rhythm like a human heartbeat echoing through space. "It doesn't look friendly." The Vorex dawn drifted quietly at the edge of Earth's orbit. Below them, the planet glowed like a living jewel, blue, gold, and silver veins pulsing with rhythm. No one spoke. Every screen on the bridge showed the same message repeating in hundreds of alien languages. "This world remembers. The Guardians are awake." Commander Terrell stood still, hands behind his back. His face showed no fear, but his eyes revealed the weight of what he had seen. He had explored dozens of worlds, dead civilizations, ruined empires, but never a world that refused to die. "Transmit everything we've recorded," he said softly. "The Council must see this." Kira hesitated. "Sir, if we send this, every power in the galaxy will know Earth is active again. Some will try to claim it. Others might try to destroy it." Terrell nodded slowly. "They will. But silence would be worse. They need to know what they're walking into." Varn began the transmission. The ship's antennas glowed red as encrypted data streamed into the void. Images of Earth, Sentinel-1's words, the awakening machines, all of it. For a few minutes, nothing happened. The ship floated in eerie calm. Then across the galaxy, the stars began to blink. Liz leaned forward, watching the sensor feed. "Sir, I'm getting strange energy readings. It's not just from Earth, it's coming from other systems." "Other systems?" Terrell repeated. She nodded. "Yes, scattered all across the outer rim. The same signal, identical frequency. Something's responding to Earth." The holographic display zoomed out, showing dozens of points of light across the galaxy flashing in perfect rhythm. Kira whispered, "It's calling," and they're answering. Varn checked the pattern. "Commander, these aren't natural signals. They're mechanical, ancient. Some are moving, activating after centuries." Terrell narrowed his eyes. "Show me." One by one, small icons appeared, old Terran probes long thought to be space debris. But as the signal reached them, they came alive. Their engines flared, their cores glowing blue. Liz's voice trembled. "Those are human machines, still working after 10,000 years." Each probe began to transmit its own message, amplifying the same phrase through deep space. "The gate calls. The children of Earth return." The Vorex Dawn's crew exchanged horrified looks. "Commander, it's spreading faster than light-speed relays," Kira said. "Every corner of the galaxy will hear this within hours." Terrell didn't reply. He stared out at the stars, lost in thought. "Do you think they'll come back?" Liz asked quietly. Terrell turned to her. "If they still exist, they will. Humans don't abandon what's theirs. Not forever. Just then, the ship's communication panel blinked. A direct transmission request from an unknown source. Identify, Tyrell ordered. Kira frowned. Signal origin. Unknown. No registry, no coordinates. It's not coming from a planet or ship, it's coming through the old human probes. Put it through, Tyrell said. The speakers crackled with static. Then a voice, a deep human voice, cut through the noise. This is not a test. This message is for the children of the stars. We are watching. The voice was calm, commanding, and filled with something that made every alien in the room feel small. You found our home. You woke our sentinel. You have seen what we left behind. Know this, the galaxy is not ready for our return. Kira covered her mouth. Is that a live message? No, Tyrell said quietly. It's a pre-recorded broadcast. A warning from the past, the voice continued. To those who come in peace, learn. To those who come with greed, run. For Earth remembers her masters. The signal ended abruptly. The ship's lights flickered back to normal. For a long time, no one spoke. Finally, Varn said, Commander, what do we tell the Council? They'll panic. The trade colonies, the empires, they'll all want to control this. Tyrell looked out the window again. Below him, Earth's surface shimmered with millions of lights forming a symbol, a circle with 3 lines through it. Liss gasped. That's the mark from the old human flags. The Terran emblem, Tyrell nodded slowly. Send the report. But tell them to stay away. Tell them Earth is not a prize, it's a warning. Moments later, they sent the final transmission across the galactic network. But as it traveled, something strange happened. Every major relay station it passed through began to fail. Screens across entire systems turned black. Only one message remained visible in glowing white letters. They are coming home. Across the stars, leaders panicked. Fleets scrambled. Scientists tried to jam the signal, but it was too late. The message was alive, carried by machines older than most civilizations. In the darkness of deep space, beyond the known rim, a small cluster of stars began to move, forming strange, geometric patterns like ships aligning for travel. Kira noticed the shift and whispered, Commander. The stars are answering back. Tyrell's voice was barely audible. Then the legend was true. Humanity didn't die. They left a trail. The crew sat in silence, the weight of it sinking in. For the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy wasn't alone anymore. Outside, Earth pulsed brighter than ever, like a beacon calling to something vast, ancient, and unstoppable. The galaxy held its breath. Across thousands of systems, every communication relay, every network, every scanner, was flooded by one haunting signal. Earth's pulse echoed like a heartbeat through space. It was steady, deliberate, impossible to block. On the Vorex dawn, the crew sat in silence. For the first time in days, no one dared to speak. The ship floated in orbit above the glowing blue planet that refused to die. Commander Tyrell stood by the viewport. Below him, Earth looked alive. Oceans glowing faintly, storms swirling in perfect spirals, lines of light moving like veins under the continents. It wasn't a dead world anymore, it was, Awake, sir, Kira whispered. The probes have stopped transmitting. Tyrell frowned. Stopped? She nodded. Yes, all of them. They've gone dark, like they're waiting for something. Before he could reply, the ship's comms flickered. Static burst through the speakers, followed by a deep rumble. The lights dimmed, and then a new signal emerged. Strong, clean, focused. Varn's eyes widened. It's a human frequency. Liss leaned forward. That's impossible. Humans haven't transmitted in 10,000 years. But the sound grew clearer. A voice came through, calm, confident, and unmistakably human. This is the Terran Vanguard. We have received your signal. Every alien on the bridge froze. The voice carried authority, but not anger. It was the voice of someone who knew they belonged wherever they stood. Kira's hands trembled over the console. Commander, that's live. This isn't a recording. Someone's out there. Tyrell's heart pounded. Track the source. Varn stared at his readings. I can't. It's everywhere at once. Like it's being transmitted through the old Terran network itself. The voice continued. To the species who entered Sol without permission, you have awakened our sentinel. The Earth Defense Network is active. This world is under Terran protection. Then a pause, long, deliberate. You are advised to withdraw immediately. This is not a threat. It is a reminder. A shiver ran through the crew. The galaxy had never heard words like that before. Simple, calm, but filled with quiet power. Liz whispered, "A reminder of what?" Trell didn't answer. He stared at the planet, his voice low. Of who they were. The holographic display flared again. Outside, the satellites surrounding Earth moved in unison, forming patterns in orbit. Beams of light connected them, thin white lines creating the shape of a massive symbol. Kira gasped. It's forming letters. The lines shaped a single word, glowing bright enough to be seen from the dark side of the moon. Home. Then the ship's sensors exploded with readings. A tear opened in space like a wound of light just beyond the edge of Earth's moon. Massive energy surged outward as if the void itself had been split apart. Barnes shouted, "Wormhole signature! Stable, artificial, and human-made." Through the tear, shapes began to appear, huge silhouettes moving against the glare. Warships. But not like any alien ship ever seen. Their hulls were dark silver, angular, and perfect. Massive cannons lined their flanks and white symbols glowed across their surfaces. Each vessel moved with precision. No wasted motion, no sound, no signal of fear. One ship led the fleet larger than the rest. Its name was written in bold white letters across its side. TSS Genesis. The Vorex Dawn's bridge went silent again. By the stars. Kira whispered. They actually came back. The comms crackled again. The same human voice, now stronger, clearer. This is Admiral A. Reynolds of the Terran Vanguard. Earth is secured. To the unknown vessel in orbit, you have our attention. Trell took a deep breath. Respond, he said quietly. Kira hesitated. Sir, what do we say to them? Trell thought for a moment, then replied. Tell them, we meant no harm. She nodded and transmitted the message. Seconds later, the reply came. Acknowledged. Then you have nothing to fear. Humanity remembers its friends. And its trespassers. The communication ended. Outside the window, more ships poured through the wormhole, hundreds then thousands. Some were warships, others looked like carriers and colony vessels. They moved into formation, surrounding Earth like guardians returning to a sacred place. Liz whispered. They look organized. Not like conquerors, Trell nodded slowly. No, like they've done this before. In the distance, the holographic face of Sentinel-1 appeared once more, projected from Earth's atmosphere. Its voice echoed across the sky, reaching every ship, every sensor. The cycle is complete. Humanity has come home. As the fleet settled into orbit, the wormhole closed behind them. The stars fell silent again. Kira leaned forward, eyes wide with wonder. What happens now, Commander? Terrell stared at the glowing planet below. Now, he said quietly. Now the galaxy will remember why they feared them. But his voice wasn't angry. It was awed. Somewhere deep inside, he understood that this was more than a return. It was history awakening. The legends were real, and the children of Earth had finally come home to a world that never forgot them. The final image before the Vorex Dawn turned away was Earth surrounded by its ancient guardians, shining brighter than any star in the void, and across every corner of the galaxy, one last signal repeated in every language ever known. Humanity has returned.